Hello all my fishy friends and welcome back to another Addicted Fishing video. Today I'm taking you guys out on the river and showing you everything you need to know to go out and catch trout. Let's go fishing. What a beautiful day we have here. The river's high, we have a spring flow, and I know there's a lot of trout in here. What we're gonna dive right into on today's episode, first is your gear setup. Really, I like to have some sort of bag, whether it be an addicted backpack you can get on our website, @𝗛𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, or one of these must-have bags. Having something that you can sling over your shoulder or keep on your back, so that as you're moving up and down the bank or floating the river, you have all your stuff on you, ready to go. And sometimes you really don't need such a big bag, just a consolidated little pack, maybe a couple jigs, maybe a couple bobbers, and maybe a few spinners. What we're gonna focus on today is fishing 3 different methods. When I go out on the river, I like to get 2 poles. We like 𝗚𝗏𝗟𝗏, they're one of the best rods that I know you can buy. I like the 𝗚𝗏𝗟𝗏 𝗪𝗏𝗏s or the SSTs, and I'll go over more of the rods when we get these things set up. But having 2 rods makes you very versatile. One I'm gonna set up with a bobber today, the other one I'm gonna set up with a spinner setup or a jig. Why that works so well for me is as I move up and down the river, I can have 2 different setups that I can fish all the habitat that's available to me when I'm fishing this section of river. Let's get these set up. Now let's dive into the tackle bag. Why I like to use artificials on the river is because it allows you to cover a lot of water and quickly. So number one of the easiest things to use and one of the most effective on a lot of places is gonna be a rooster tail or some sort of spinner. If we take a look in the box here, you can see how we have a very good variety of colors, from white all the way to black, all the way to chartreuse. I like to keep it within that range so that I can adapt to the watercolor that I see when I show up to the river that day. Alongside those, I have some Brad's mini wigglers, Rapalas, and of course, the old trusty Castmaster. The rod I'm gonna use for using any sort of hardware or spinner or the jig setup that I'm going to show you here in a minute is the 𝗚𝗏𝗟𝗏𝗏 𝗪𝗏𝗏. I like a little bit shorter rod for this with a little more sensitive tip. This one is the 7/6 4 to 10 pound weight. The beauty of this weighted rod is it can handle big fish, but you also have a lot of fun on this light action rod catching those small fish as you go along through your day. The reel that I put on this rod setup is a 30 series 𝗚𝗏𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗏 reel. I love this thing, it's very durable, it holds a good amount of line, and it works perfect for trout fishing. Now the line you choose to put on this is very, very important. What I like to use is our Addicted Enforcer braid in the 10-pound test. And you can find this on our website, @𝗛𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, and this line is a very, very high vis line. I love that so that I can see where I'm fishing throughout the run. If you have fluorocarbon or monofilament or a line that's harder to see, you're not going to be able to notice where your line is, and ultimately you'll end up snagging more and not being effective fishing. So now you're probably wondering how using that high vis line doesn't spook the fish. It definitely does. So what we do is we add a fluorocarbon bumper onto the end of our braided line. I like anything from a 10 down to about a 4-pound test. Anything lighter than that makes it very hard to tie knots, and you end up breaking off all of your valuable gear. The way I attach that fluorocarbon line to my braided line is with a blood knot. We have many tutorials on how to tie these knots here on Addicted Fishing. Go back into our page, go down to the knot tutorials, and check those out. I always recommend being best at tying one knot. Don't learn them all, find one that you can tie best, and that's gonna be the one that's gonna help you be the most successful. So now it's time to choose our spinner, and that can be pretty tough when you have so many options. I'm gonna go with today, probably the white and silver. We have a nice sunny day, we have a pretty cloudy river system. That's because a lot of snow melt's coming down. We have a very turbid water, so I want something these fish are gonna be able to see, and that is very flashy. So I'm starting with white first. Now to attach my spinner, I'm just gonna do a standard clinch knot. The way I do that is stick my line through the eye of the spinner, make myself 6 to 7 wraps, whatever feels lucky. Today's the 6th wrapper. Put my line right through the hole that I created by spinning that line. Wet your knot, pull it tight, and then trim your tag in. Here we go. The thing about a spinner that is so nice is you can fish them in any kind of water on the river, whether it be deep water, whether it be fast water, or whether it be something like this. We have a nice tree structure, we have some cover for the fish, and we have a nice current bringing those fish to food. The food's about to be the spinner. Let's do it. So on my first cast, I'm gonna cast just a bit upriver. I can tell that this hole is pretty deep. If you're fishing anything shallower than about 5 feet, you really don't wanna cast upriver. You wanna cast at an angle straight out in front of you so that thing has time to fall and spin right in front of the fish. The way you get your spinner blade to engage, and what I mean by engage is to start to spin, the way I like to get my spinner started is with a little downward tip action. And after I've done that, I'm gonna reel just fast enough to feel that pressure. That means that blade's spinning, it's working through that zone, and it's gonna be seen by those fish. Now the best way to be effective with a spinner is covering water and giving yourself some sort of system as you're fishing a hole. Here I know I can cast from top to bottom. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start close, work my way to the middle, and then cast far and work my way downriver in that motion, covering a different piece of water with each cast. So now that I've casted up here, I've worked a couple casts, I'm gonna cast about 15 feet downriver and repeat the same action. "15 feet more downriver. And after that one, about 15 feet more downriver. Oh, there he was. Dang it, I had him. He hit it and swam at me. All I felt there was the blade stop spinning and all my line got loose. What that means is that fish grabbed that thing and came at me so quickly that he actually had no time to get hooked. Let's see if we can get him again. Nope, wasn't hungry the second time. One more. We'll let it fall a little further. Engage that blade. Come on. I know you're hungry. Oh, dang it. Come on. Oh, one more time. Come on, Troutzilla. We want to show the people how pretty you are. Well, I don't think that thing's going to be fooled by the spinner again. Let's go try up a different setup. All right, now the next setup I'm going to show you is the bobber and addicted micro worm. This is our addicted fixed float in the trout series. We make these in panfish, trout, and steelhead series. The trout one is perfect for what I'm about to show you. It's a nice lightweight bobber that goes down easy when the fish grab it, and you get very, very good hookups with it. And this at times is my very favorite way to fish. These floats come with 2 pieces of rubber tubing here. So I'm going to take each of these off. I'm going to slide the first one right here onto my line. After I've applied that one to the line, I'm going to take my float, slide my line through the appropriate holes that come on the bobber, and I'm going to apply my first piece of rubber tubing. Getting the top of that bobber a little bit wet helps quite a bit. There we go. Second piece of tubing is going to go over the line again and right on to the bottom stem of the bobber. There we go. My next step is going to be to add a size 6 barrel swivel. The reason I'm going to do this is so I can create a separation between the line my bobber is on and the line my worm is on, so that if I get snagged, I don't go wasting these beautiful little floats. I'm going to attach this with your standard clinch knot once again. Light your knot, pull it tight. This line is very, very hard to see for the fish. It blends in with the water well, and the fish don't even see it coming. Next, we're going to attach our line to the bottom end of the swivel. Same knot we've been doing all along. 6 wraps for luck. Hashtag wet your knot. Now for the worm. Now the first step to getting this set up is to pick out a jig head. I like to use these 16th ounce addicted jig heads from Mustad. I like black or red. I try to keep my colors simple. Usually I go with a black, a red, or a white. That way I can match again the color of water that I'm fishing for the day and the worm that I'm going to be using. Jig goes on just like all the other things we've tied up. Standard clinch knot. Now it's time for the worm. My very favorite color is the ghost pink for pretty much anywhere I fish. These things come in a lot of different varieties of colors. You can see them all again on our website, addicted.fishing. But today I'm going with the ghost pink. My backup is going to be the red pearl. Now, to apply this thing to my line is a very delicate operation. You're going to put the tip of the hook right in the head of the worm. Slowly slide about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of that worm onto the hook. Once you've made it on there quite a ways, pull that through the body of the worm, slide it up towards your jig head, and we're ready to fish. But one last step. What I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna add a little piece of split shot. We have pretty high water, it's pretty boily. If you're fishing a small creek or a smaller river, you can use just these 16th ounce jig heads to get you down. But today I can tell it's gonna take a little bit more. So I have a size 6 split shot that I'm gonna add to the top of my swivel. Why I add it to the top is so when I cast or I'm fighting a fish, that lead doesn't slide down all the way to my hook and possibly make the fish come off. Give it a little pinch. Now we're ready to go. Now, the most important part of fishing this setup is how you manage your depth. I want to be able to stay right off the bottom about 1 foot to 1.5 feet, but I don't want it too shallow to where those fish aren't going to be able to see it. So what I'm going to do is a spot like this, I'm assuming it's about 5 to 6 feet deep. That being the case, I'm going to grab my bobber, slide it up my line, where I'm fishing about 4.5 to 5 feet. Let's give her a cast. Ooh, fishy. Now, first thing I'm noticing here is that I'm overweighted. As you can see, while my bobber's sitting out there, it's sitting past the black line that's on that bobber. That's because I have too much weight on the bobber itself. These things have these little brass rings on them, and that's to add and subtract the weight. So, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull this little brass ring off. Save that in my pocket for later. Put my rubber tubing back on and give her a cast. Here we go. Much better. I can see way more of that bobber, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna sit with that current a little bit better. It's not gonna get pulled around, the bobber won't be submerged so I can't see it, and we'll be ready to catch a fish. Now the difference in how I'm gonna fish this compared to a spinner or a jig is where I'm casting. I always wanna start my cast with the bobber about 45 degrees upriver so that I can get a good drift started. You need time for that thing to be able to fall, get down into that strike zone, and the fish be able to see it. So casting 45 degrees up gives that thing a couple of seconds to fall down into the strike zone and fish right here in front of me properly. So you'll notice on the last few casts, my bobber is going very slow. That's not always the worst thing, but I've made a few casts through here. So now I'm gonna move upriver just a little bit to where the water is a little bit faster so I get a better presentation. Okay, so it's obvious this is a little bit shallower, so I've shallowed my bobber up. Let's give it a cast. Throwing it upriver so that my stuff gets down. So what I'm gonna do different in this hole now, because I have this current, is I'm gonna use that current to fish more water. I'm gonna open my bail, just like this in my hand. I'm gonna keep my rod tip up at a 45-degree angle, and I'm gonna let that thing float down through the run that's below me. The beauty of using this fixed float and one of these worms is you can cover a lot of ground that you normally couldn't really cast to. That thing's down there bouncing around, looking like a tasty little morsel of these fish. Now we gave this method a solid effort, but the key to being a successful trout fisherman is to be versatile. So let's go show you our third and final setup. Now our last method is arguably my very favorite of all, and that is the sculpin jig. These little bad boys, certain times of year, are an absolute blast to fish. All we're gonna do is chop our spinner off. Same rod, same setup that we've been using the whole time. I'm gonna chop my spinner off, grab my jig. Now our last method is arguably my very favorite one of all, and it is the sculpin jig. These are jigs that I hand tie myself. These ones were given to me by a good friend of mine, Mr. Bill Herzog, who taught me this method.
All right, you ready for arts and crafts time?
I am.
Well, we need ammunition for our plans here. It all starts with a jig head, a vise, and some dead animals. And put together in the right way, creates pure magic. So I'm gonna take my thread, give myself a little base layer of thread all the way down the hook so that my rabbit fur doesn't go slipping off when we start catching giants. Now, arguably the most important part, tail. I'm gonna cut about 3 or 4 inches off. And the beauty of this design is the simplicity. Basically, what we're trying to make here is something that lives in the natural environment where we're going to be fishing. Sculpin live in pretty much every body of freshwater in the world. And this time of year, when the fish are hungry and there's not too many insects, they're going to be meat eaters. So we're going to give them the meat.
But if you don't have the ability or time to tie these yourself, any sort of black, brown, or gray marabou or rabbit fur jig will work just the same. I like to use from 1/4 ounce down to about 1/8 of an ounce. That seems to be the perfect weight for fishing the kind of water we're going to be fishing here today. All I did was chop my spinner off, use the same rod, same setup we showed you earlier, tie our jig on, and we go catch fish. Here here we go. Now this method, similar to the spinner, can be fished in just about all kinds of water. I like to make sure that at least about a 5 to a 6 foot depth so that I'm not snagging up and losing my valuable jigs. With this method, I'm gonna use the same technique as I would with the spinner. I'm gonna start above me, working my way down about 15 to 20 feet with each different cast. Let's get started. Now my goal with this method is to get this thing as close to the bottom as I possibly can without getting snagged. Once I'm down there in the strike zone, I'm gonna do very, very light jigs with my rod tip, slowly reeling in a little bit of line with each bit of action that I give it. The amount that you reel and the pace that you jig will vary with every style of water that you fish throughout the day. With this water here, I'm doing a very slow retrieve and a nice action to that thing so it looks like that little sculpin is down there trying to swim away and not get eaten. Okay, I've worked that jig from the top of the hole all the way down to the bottom. Let's go find a different spot. Okay, now that we're in a spot with a little bit faster current, you're gonna notice the tempo of my jigging and the pace of my reel is gonna pick up. That's just because I do not wanna let this thing actually make contact with the bottom. So to do so, I'm gonna reel faster and I'm gonna move my rod tip a little bit quicker. All right, now we've effectively fished all of our methods through this stretch of water. Best thing to do now, let's relocate, find some fish. It's a jungle in there. Oh, come back for it, baby. Come back for it. About yanked my arm off. So what I've done in this hole, you guys, is I've gone to a lighter jig. I can tell by looking out there is a lot of boulder structure. And if I have too heavy a jig, I won't be able to slowly fish this through that structure. So I went to the 1/8 ounce and it's working. I made up my mind. Okay, things are looking good. Found another spot. Now I've noticed throughout the day it's gotten a little bit colder outside. We've seen a lot of bug activity and a lot of things flying around, so sometimes when that happens, the sculpins won't work, but it's gotten colder. I think these fish might be going back on the sculpin bite. Now I'm gonna hold on for the rest of my day. I made up my mind. Here I go again. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone. And I know what it means to walk down the river and not catch anything. These trout really suck today. Make it hard to make this video anyway. These little's having fun. Okay, now this is a perfect situation, everybody. We got a big, oh, instant, dang it. Big log structure. Dang it. Oh, there he was again. But we can't keep him on the hook. So being versatile again means noticing what's going on around you in the natural environment. It's gotten cold out, and what you can notice is there's no leaves on the trees right now. So that being the fact, there's not going to be a lot of these worms falling out of the trees. Especially this ghost pink one, they resemble the worms that build nests in the trees, and as the wind blows, it knocks them in and the fish feed on them. But I am noticing a lot of caterpillars on the bank. So that being the case, I'm going to take something that looks somewhat like a caterpillar, like a little woolly bugger, just like this one here. This one has a tungsten head. Woolly buggers you can find pretty much, you can find them at Walmart in a pack. You can go to a fly shop nearby you, or you can tie them yourself. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna take that one off. I'm gonna take my worm off, and we're going to the woolly bugger. Woolly bugger, in flight. Ooh, that's fishing nice. Come on, baby. Going back to the jig. him! Oh, it's a beast! Oh my God! Yeah! Oh, it's a good one. Oh, it's a really good one, dude. Oh, it's a pike minnow. Darn it. That's okay though. Pretty big fish. These things actually eat a lot of the baby trout. They're not a native species to this area, so we are going to get rid of this one. But fish number 1 of the day. All right, everyone, that is all the time we have today for Out on the Water. But right here, we're gonna cut to a quick clip of how effective all these methods can be, exactly how you saw us use them today. Well, this is exactly what we're looking for. You guys can see out there, I can't see the bottom. Big rock wall on the other side, slow current. And on the way up, I saw 2 fish roll right off of that point. So let's go back to what worked first. Take off our Sink It series and go back with the worm. I'm gonna stay way back here. I do not want to ruin this. This is definitely gonna be a good spot. I can see it. We got little reds on this side where these fish are spawning. I know there's a good amount of trout in this hole. I can feel it. Here it goes. There he is, got him. Got him, that's a good one too. Oh yes, yes. That's a really nice one. Thing damn near didn't even hit the water. Come on, baby, come to Papa. Come to Papa. Come to Papa. What are you? Wow, you're beautiful, that's what you are. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay, bring it in, bring it in. Come here, little guy. Oh my God. Come on. There he is, we got him. We touched him. This is a cutbow, everybody. It's a cutthroat rainbow cross. And that's species number 3. Look at it. The most beautiful fish of the trip, by far.
Against the bank over there. Okay, now you can start slowing down. We got good now.
I'm gonna put some plugs out while you guys fish.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
What's the big one? It's huge. It's huge.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Huge. That thing is giant. And he's awake. He's got friends. He's got friends.
Yeah, red. Ooh la la!
What the hell is that? That's a steelhead. Or is that a trout? What's going on?
It's a big rainbow. That is running away. Got a really nice beach here.
Wow.
The size of this cat, huh? Donkey.
Wow.
Is that beautiful or what, huh? Look at that. Look at the spots. Look at the spots on that.
Look at that frickin'
Yeah.
specimen.
Isn't he awesome? Look at
Holy crap. That is a real red side trout right
yes,
there.
It is.
Pride of the West.
Yeah.
Holy moly, man.
Get me in sponge gums here.
Wow. That's a donkey.
That is as big as nice as they get here.
Isn't that gorgeous?
He's got friends, look just like him too.
Wow.
So I'm just swinging it right in behind these boulders. Oh, there he is, there he is. Got him, right at the very end here. Perfect. Look at that beautiful little creature. So went back to the black and silver. Come on, little guy, chill, chill. Beautiful little brook trout. Absolutely stunning little guy. So really didn't do anything different. Just kept working my way down, kept covering water, and it kind of as I expected, these fish are a little bit smaller in this creek right now. They're not migrating out of the lake to come up here and spawn, so we're getting some of these residual, these resident rainbows like this. And there you have it, guys. The old rooster tail coming through in a pinch. All right, little buddy, thank you. Thanks for playing with us. Thank you all so much for joining us here on another Addicted Fishing tutorial. If you guys have any questions, please drop those questions down in the comments below. We'll try to get them answered. And until next time, everybody, you all stay fishy. We'll see you out there.